Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. And we are doing that today by continuing our grand tour of all the bodies in the system to fulfill a contract and level up a whole bunch of Kerbals. And we have just arrived around around Eve, and now it's on to Gilly. 2 to 3% the speed of light seems to be the safe distance when you're doing inside of a planetary system or you're close and trying to get a little closer. All right, where is it? There it is, tiny little potato. Shoop. Are we actually in orbit or in the sphere of influence? We are not, because it is tiny. Look at this, we're moving so fast relative to Ike that we are actually like rotating. We are having to rotate to actually make this. That's so funny. All right, so here we are once again. We have made it into the orbit. Oops, and we fell right back out again. But we have our check mark for Gilly, so that's all that really matters to us. All right, so I think next up we are going to go visit Duna. So we turn once again towards a blank spot in the sky, a dark patch that is going to contain other wonders for us, far, far away. And we start moving faster than the speed of light to close that incredible distance by breaking the laws of physics. All right, so we're closing in and slow it down. Alright, just be very careful with our speed. Dropping it down, dropping that distance down, just watching Duna become slightly larger in the sky. And then it whoa! Gosh darn it. Okay, right. Being careful. So here we are in the sphere of influence of Duna. That's very exciting, and we can see that I think that's Ike right behind us somewhere. It must be, because it's between us and the sun. I think there's a deep dark shape here that I can barely see. So let's turn around and go skim past that, and then we will have that check mark in our log for the ultimate challenge. It's not very far away, so we will not have to go very fast with our warp drive. Oh, there we go. I think that was it. Yes. Can't really see it. It is a large, dark object because we are on the dark side of it. But there we are, and we are screaming out of the sphere of influence of Ike. And while we do that, I think our next step is Dres. Where are you at, Dres? That angry space potato that no one visits. So few people visit it that Squad actually put a asteroid belt around it just to try to get people to come by. But with the asteroid recycling technologies doing what it does to asteroids in my game, I can't foresee ever really needing to visit Dres. And I've mentioned before that I wanted to do some colonization on Eve. I'm not sure if I want to do that rather than Galileo's planet pack. So I may have to break that bit of a promise to instead do something that I'm more interested in. But we'll see. Once again, we'll see. Nothing is set in stone, and I'm very highly suggestible to what you guys are interested in watching. So do please let me know in the comments what you think about what I should do after the colonization of Duna. I'm very heavily leaning towards kind of refreshing my install, starting over with Galileo's planet pack, but I could maybe chuck a few bases at Eve if you really wanted me to. Alright, so we're trying to come in very carefully on Dres, but it's very hard to maintain a good speed because we keep going over this threshold that's just above 3%, that goes from 3% to 67%, and I really don't want to get caught on any one of these bodies. Alright, so we are in on Dres. Let's get a little bit closer. We can get a little bit closer, right? What's our... I don't know what our failsafe value is for Dres, but I'm pretty sure it's not at this high. So we can slide in a little bit closer to at least get a look at it, because it's still a very interesting planet to look at. It looks like a gigantic moon. Like moon, however you want to pronounce that. But yeah, here we are on above Dres, so let's grab that science, send that back, and now it looks like Pol, Bop, Tylo, Vall, Laythe. It's just the moons of Jool, and we've actually completed the Ike 6 voyage, which is getting us... Go away. Come back. Okay, 4.5 million funds for that one, and we are going to get a similarly huge payout for the ultimate challenge here, which is why I was pretty interested in doing that. And we got some money for our world first milestones, the flybys, escaping the gravitational influence of various bodies that we've never been to before. So that's going to get us a little extra money, and that's kind of the goal here, is we are just trying to get some cash. All right, off to Jool, and we flip around to point that way, and off we go. Let's go ahead and make sure we flip up this. We are going to be once again flipping to the opposite side of the sun, and we have a pretty big distance to go here, so we can actually really open up the throttle on this thing, but we are going very close past the sun. That should be fine. We're going to be going by at such high velocities, I don't think that'll be an issue. Yep, we survived. And we are heading out towards Jool at alarming speeds. 1,500% of the speed of light, so 15 times the speed of light, and we are approaching that great green gas giant. And we are inside its sphere of influence. But that is not all we need. We need to actually get closer yet to the moon system that Jool has captured. Alright, so I think we need to visit every single body inside this system, so let's start with Pol. Just go down this list here, although I think Pol is... There's Pol. Ta-da! Okay, point at Pol, and off we go! Whoa, please be careful, please be careful. Oh, jeez. It's just, you get it going at that speed, and then, like, it lags for just a second, and you're like, oh no, I'm probably inside the center of the planet and very, very dead. But thankfully that is not the case, and we are just sliding in a little bit closer, And there we are. And come on down a little bit so we can take a look at this very pointy space potato. It's not very potatoey. It's actually pretty round and spherical, but it's very craggy. It has wild, really tumultuous geology. Alright, but that is Pol. Go ahead and grab that crew report. And now we are going to point at... What's next? Bop is close, isn't it? Yes, it is. And wheel our warp drive around, and we can see, I think that's beautiful Laythe over there. You can see the atmosphere around it, but that's not where we're headed first. We're headed first to... Whoops. Where'd you go? Did I slam through? Wow, yeah. Okay, let's try that one more time. I want to actually get a look at the different moons here, since we're visiting, right? We should at least take a look. The glamour shots and so forth. What's the point of coming out this way if we're just, checking off a box on our scientific instrument? There we can see Pol coming. But that's not where we're going. We're going towards Bop, I think. And Bop is this rogue asteroid-looking... Shoop, whoops. Wow, that was close. Yes, so this is Bop. It is a asteroid, possibly a Trojan of some sort that is caught... Still potatoey looking in the sphere of influence of Jool. Alright, so now down to the bigger three. Let's go hit Tylo first. Ah, no, that's actually Jool that I'm seeing. The clouds around Jool. You can tell because it's so huge and I can see it from so very far away. But yeah, that's a stock visual enhancement is what I have. I have the medium texture pack, and that turns out to be just as gorgeous as we would need it, and still maintains a pretty good level of performance, which is great. But yeah, look at how amazingly beautiful that is, seeing Jool flying by. Just so fantastic. It's absolutely worth it getting some kind of cloud pack, I find. Alright, so we are slowing down because we are getting close to the incredibly heavy moon of Tylo. Where are you at? Are you on the other side of the sun? Is that the problem? I think that is exactly the problem. So let's actually turn a little bit. We're going to go this way. That is the wrong way. I want to go closer. There we go. We just want to get on the far side and a little bit closer in so that we can see the meteor impacted cratered surface of Tylo, which is just a beast to land on. I haven't done it in this save, obviously, but in some other games I have visited Tylo and landed there, and it is just a beast with that gravity. Does this actually tell me what the gravity is? Can I focus on Tylo and tell me what the gravity is? 0.8. So it's an airless body with 0.8 Kerbin's gravity. So that's pretty dang heavy. So that's not like worse than it is on Kerbin, but it's almost as bad, and you don't have an atmosphere to help you in any way. So it can be quite the beast. All right, next up is Vall. Oh, what a cool shot. We can see both Laythe and Vall ahead of us now. But first, let me take a selfie. Can you guess where I get the thumbnails for my videos? Whenever I stop for glamour shots like these, I can't help but go ahead and caption them and make them my thumbnails. I'm such a huge fan of astrophotography, and in addition to seeing things, you know, from telescopes, stuff from satellites as well. Gorgeous. So we head into Vall, which is just another big heavy moon around Jool. It's not nearly as bad as Tylo, as I recall. We are in the sphere of influence now, so let's go ahead and focus on Vall. How heavy is this one? Yeah, at surface level gravity 0.23. That's way easier to land on and take off from. All right, so I think they're kind of lined up, so I'm actually going to let time run forward a little bit so I get to a better place that I can now go to our last destination in this particular, in this system, which is Laythe, which is looking absolutely gorgeous over there. I don't think I've been there since I've installed the stock visual enhancements mod, and that the cloud cover around that is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And we are getting in a little bit closer now, and I think that is it for us. We are now inside the sphere of influence of beautiful, beautiful Laythe with its beautiful, beautiful clouds. Can I actually I want to get a little closer. What way am I pointing? Let's try this, and then, oops, everything's backwards from the way I think it should be. There we go. Man, that is just gorgeous. I love those clouds. That just looks fantastic. All right, so that is the Jovian system, or the Julian system, I suppose I should say. And that actually completes our ultimate challenge, but I don't think this particular crew has been to Eeloo, so I want to make sure that I have all of the experience points that I could possibly get. So let's go ahead and target Eeloo, and then we will go visit that, and then we will head home. And here we are, finally above Eeloo. A little bit far away, but I don't want to get too terribly close. Let's make sure we're not going to fall into it if I accidentally get too close. Point back down at it. There we go. So now we can actually see the cracks on Eeloo's surface, and we have visited everybody in the system with this particular crew, and we have finished the ultimate challenge, and I'm hoping that this is actually going to get them to level 5. So I guess we're going to see about that. It occurs to me that I did not actually leave them with any way to level up on Gateway Station. I'm not sure I actually have anything there that can do that, but let's go ahead and save the game. And we are going to head back to Gateway Station, and then we're going to see. Alright, so I am just doing some free maneuvers to shed some relative velocity compared to Gateway Station, because I'd somehow managed to get it to the point where I had picked up an extra 2200 meters per second of delta V. But if I just put myself in that position where I am moving straight out and dropping velocity due to gravity. Whoops, looks like it's picking back up again. It looks like I can manipulate my relative velocity based on my movement and my gravity. Which is, well, it was dropping precipitously, but then as soon as I started talking, I started gaining relative velocity again based on where I am and how I am being pulled in relation to Gateway Station. So looks like I have some more figuring out to do to figure out how to change my trajectory very precisely to drop that velocity. But the important thing is that I dropped a whole bunch of the speed, like the actual orbital speed, because I dropped about 1,500 meters per second of straight up velocity. I was going about, well, 1,100 meters per second of orbital velocity. I was moving at this point about 2,200. So I could probably just go ahead and shed that with my actual engine at this point. Although what I also could do is, because we need to be in suborbital spaceflight, which we have somehow gotten in the course of this messing around. So let's just go ahead and instead we can just switch to our carborundum drive and kill our relative velocity out here. And while we're doing that, we can see we have escaped the gravitational influence of Laythe. Fantastic. But we have completed the ultimate challenge. We have visited all 17 celestial bodies with a single vessel and managed to make it into a suborbital spaceflight above Kerbin, rewarding us with 14 million credits, which is fantastic. Credits, funds, whatever you want to call it. But that gives us 31 million, which gives us enough to buy the 2.5 meter warp drive. Ooh, very exciting. But unfortunately, those actually cost another 25 million as well to purchase, in addition to the technology itself. So we're not going to be using it quite yet, but we will be able to use it very, very soon. So now I just need to get these 6 Kerbals back to Gateway Station, at which point we can see if there's any way I have on board Gateway to level them up. Alright, we have killed our relative velocity just about, so let's go ahead and point at our target. We are picking up relative velocity very quickly because I am in an unfavorable location. And gravity is being mean. But now it's just a matter of getting in close, but not too close. To make sure that we actually intersect. And we may want to, at this point, just go past, because we're going to have to figure out how to get there without breaking stuff. So let's actually, hold on a darn second. It is 200,000 meters away. Let's try to make sure that we're not going to break anything. Save the game one final time. And then we'll come in close and see if I can't get pretty close without breaking anything. Gateway Station 50 kilometers away. A little bit. Whoa, stop. Okay. Now let's kill our relative velocity. Turn off our warp drive. I want to make sure that we're not breaking anything. Please don't break anything. And kill this relative velocity. And there you have it. Now it's just a regular rendezvous. Using our fusion drive and fighting with it just a little bit, we are able to bring our separation down to 0.0 in just 4 minutes. Alright, nice and close, so let's go ahead and kill that relative velocity just about. Set this as target. Control from here, open shield, open up our docking alignment indicator, which is just still one of the best things ever. Flip that around and turn on our RCS. Now it's just a normal matter of docking. Kerchunk, and there we go. We are on board. Save the game one more time. Looks like nothing is damaged. Everything looks great. Does the Kerbitat have the ability to level up? No, I think that's the colonization. I am thinking of the colonization module. I can start agroponics while I have Kerbals on board anyways. All right, but I am losing electric charge doing that. So I think my next step is probably going to be bringing up some additional hardware for this station, but I can leave the warp skiff attached, and what we are going to do now is we are just going to bring these Kerbals home. So we can just transfer them over once again to, here it is, our landing capsule. Alright, so now we are all docked up in our redesigned landing capsule. Let's save the game one more time just to be absolutely, utterly, amazingly safe. Always be safe. We are not pointed at the sun in any way. I've had it suggested that I should use persistent rotation. That is a little more realistic than I am going for. I will admit that I kind of use the cheesy solution of actually using time warp to stop my rotation. I use that fairly frequently, and that's probably a bad thing, but there you have it. I use it. It would be a hard thing for me to stop using it. Although maybe it's not a bad idea to try that. But apparently it also has the option of allowing you to, what do you call it, point yourself in a very particular direction and maintain that rotation. So I could basically rotate myself so that I was always, or I could set it so that this should always be pointing at the sun. Like I could have it maintain a particular rotation, which would be really cool. But there's a lot of interesting things that you have to deal with in the meantime, although it wouldn't be as hard as it would be in, say, a real solar system install where you have to, where you have incredibly nerfed reaction wheels. But in any case, I digress. We are all set up here. The power is regaining on this station. I just want to make sure that I don't bring home any more monopropellant than I actually need. I can actually drop off some of this monopropellant and supplies and so forth. So there we go. Okay, we have dumped all of the fuel and other resources that we don't need either into the station or into the warp skiff to make sure that one's ready to go. So now it's just a matter of getting our Kerbals down to Kerbin's surface. Alright, so final little check before we actually head off. I think we've got plenty of fuel to get down, lower our periapsis. We've dumped most of our supplies. We still have plenty of monopropellant. We have no parachutes. Why am I so bad at remembering parachutes? Gosh darn it. Ugh, jeez. Okay. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna have to send up yet another ship with yet more stuff. This time parachutes to get these guys down. Be right back. Alright, so here we are coming in close to Gateway Station. We have a box with some parachutes on it, and that's really about all we got going for us right now. So we're just going to get up here and get nice and close to the vessel, and then we can actually have someone who I hope has a... I think I brought someone with a wrench. I hope I did. I think I did. And, oops, careful now. There we go. Okay, so... one of you lovely individuals, I think Lalin Kerman, should still have her wrench, so have her jump out. We're gonna save the... oh, can't quick save now, but we can quick save now, because that makes sense. There we go. Do you still... yes, beautiful. Okay. Okay, so let's start stapling these to the side here. We can just actually do this from here. Sure. It's gonna look real janky, but I'm really not worried about it at this point. I just want to get these guys down. 4. Okay. That's awful, but it'll have to do. Bonk. Okay. So get back on board. Don't clip your head on that, please. Very nice. And head back down and jump back inside. Beautiful. All right. So now we will also be switching back to this. And you get to go home. Alright, so let's try this one more gosh darn time. Save the game. Finally. We have everything and now we have parachutes. Okay. Undock. Let's wait now until we can come down on the sunny side. And also close to Kerbal Space Center would be nice too. We have a lot of fuel left on this stage, so we can be a little more precise with our landing, I think. And we come around, and this thing may not be as stable as I hope it is. I guess we're going to find out, but we should be able to use the engine to kind of maintain the stability as we get down inside the atmosphere. When we get down to like 25, 30 kilometers, that's when things will start probably getting dicey. And then we can use the gimbal on the engine to hopefully maintain that stability beyond that point, to the point where we are close enough. All right, we're starting to get closer. Whoops, we're starting to lose it already. All right, so let's just put it down like 1/3 throttle for now. Hopefully that will be helpful. All right, so we are at the point where our dynamic pressure is getting higher and higher as we get down into the thicker part of the atmosphere. Not 100% sure where max Q would be on your reentry, but it's usually the point where this thing flips around. Yeah, because you can see down here that the SAS is actually having to do some torquing to keep this thing stable at this point. So it wants to flip around at least a little bit. But we're getting down to about 1,400 meters per second. We're getting into the thickest part of the atmosphere. We're getting pretty high now, so hopefully everything will work out just fine, and our fuel should run out just about on time, I think. Let's actually decrease our consumption a little bit. I don't know if this is actually doing anything. I like to believe that it is, but yeah, look at this. Our yaw is increasing. But we are maintaining inside our surface retrograde, which is very, very nice. Okay, we haven't flipped out. Our SAS is working really hard at this point. We've got the RCS jets blowing. We've got the gimbaling happening. We have about a minute left of fuel, so hopefully that we should be able to stay stable enough to get into the regime where our parachutes can deploy. That's all that really matters. Yeah, look at all this wobbling that's happening. But yeah, this is working out perfect. So let's just burn the rest of our fuel, activate our parachutes, and put down our landing legs. And we are now all out of fuel. Yeah. Misjudged the timing on that. But yeah, so this should open up, and hopefully I have the right number of parachutes. 12. That's pretty fast, but I think this should be fine since we're landing on landing legs. And if nothing else, there's a lot of things in between the landing legs and the pods that have our Kerbals that would have to be destroyed before we actually lost anybody. So I think this should work out for us just fine. And here we go in for touchdown. Oof! Well, the engine blew up, but we are standing, and that's all that matters to me. Let's recover our Kerbals. Alright, so we are back, and we have recovered a little bit of funds, I guess, from the remaining bits, but here is the important part. Level 5 Kerbals! Yes, that worked out perfectly. 103 experience gained. They only actually needed 64, so we won't be doing a round trip to every single body in the system. I have made a list of a route that is kind of the cheapest way to get to that 64 experience point number. So yeah, there we go. Now we have level 5 one level 5 scientist, 5 level 5 engineers, because most of what we need to worry about with this is scientists is going to be dealing with the food production and organics production and that sort of thing, and engineers do basically everything else. They run the drills, they run the refineries, they run the assembly plants. So there we have it with that. We have our crew that is going to be the first ones that are down on Duna. And I do know that there are like the mechanic and the biologist and the miner and all the other ones. I know that those all exist and those could be used, but for at least the first wave of this Duna mission, I want to send the best and the brightest. Basically, I want to send the ones that can do the most work in the smallest number of Kerbals, because we want to send kind of a small package of individuals first up to build the base, get it set up, get that working, and everything else. But we'll have to deal with that a little bit later on. I'm all out of time for this episode. So if you enjoyed this one, please share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.